Dude, I'm just gonna press every fucking button in the game, dude. Oh, that combo right there was beautiful. And that dodge was awful, though. That dodge was awful. Dude, this is insane, boys. This is insane. Look at this combo. Oh, my fucking god, dude. Now we 1-1-1, remove boons with auto attack. Who's bad? We win, boys. We win. And time warp to finish it off when they in. Look, they're pushing into the time warp, boys. Big value. Huge value right now. It's insane. I'm just pressing all shadows, boys. Look at the boons, dude. Enemy has 0 boon rip. I'm just going to auto attack here. And then I'm just going to auto attack again. If the game lets me. Now I give Chaos Roy because they're on top of us. Right? And I'm going to reset the cooldown of my shield 4 with the heal skill. I'm actually going to charge my mantra inside the enemy because I'm Giga Chad. So we were playing this. Chrono Monster, you're still picking up Minstrel. We were playing Herald runes before, but honestly, you don't need the toughness on this build. Even with the staff, you have decent armor. Obviously, you get extra defense with the shield, right? I would say Water runes is a good pick. You could also go with Radiance if you want some more HP, some more vitality. We also got some givers, so we can get to the 100% boon duration. We're slightly off, but that's because we haven't got food on. If you use food, we're good. The flask of pumpkin oil. We're playing Zephyrite Relic. This could be changed for something else. There's some options, but I really like the boon cover on top of the boons that you get from Time Warp. It is pretty nice. So everything's Minstrel. So before we played Dominations and Illusions, Boon Strip, and it was Phantasm Distortion. That got nerfed. Chaos Inspiration got buffed. So we're now playing Chaos Inspi. Traits are pretty much fixed. I don't really think you should change the traits. There's not really any variation of the traits, I believe. But then if you have a scuffed party, you might be able to compensate for the lack of certain things with certain traits. So, but if you have a good comp party, should be good. When I say comp party, I mean a dedicated support healer and a firebrand. And then obviously the DPS in the party will love you long time for all the boons that you give and provide. So yeah, you're not really got massive outgoing healing, so you're probably wondering why Minstrel. It's just because it's tankier. It's just better in larger scale fights. And also, you don't really benefit that much from Celestial in Zerg fights or in like GVG, to be honest. Because there is some damage, and you just don't want to die, right? Just dying is bad in the game. So infusions, I'm just spamming concentration. Like all the infusions. Energy and absorption. So before the build I was playing was focus, but you're on top of the enemy, so pulling is really not even worth it. And shield is just better for mitigation, and obviously you're getting protection, and the CC is really good as well. Like the CC, swiftness, might, just more boon covers, to be honest. The focus is fine. Like in Wobber's World, focus is really good if you're like out and about and like you can pull on objectives, walls, and shit like this. Like it's really, really good. But overall, I just feel the shield is just so much better. Playing Chrono, it's the elite spec of Mesmer. It's basically it's a utility bot still. It's got CC, but it's mostly boons. Instead of boon removal like before, now it's basically giving boons. You have a little bit of Condi cleanse with the null field, which can help your party and the support and stuff. And with inspiration, when you use a heal skill, you can also cleanse 1 Condi. So you could use mantra if you want to proc that more often, which is this trait here, lesser power cleanse. But other than that, you don't really have any Condi cleanse unless you were to run this trait, but this is very selfish. It's when you summon a Phantasm, so... But the feedback is really, really good, combined with Temporal Enchanter, to get the extra resistance for your team and super speed. It's really, really strong. Hand res meta is a thing, so... Being able to just strengthen the squad's ability to hand res and capitalize on those moments and turn the fights in your favor. But yeah... This is probably one of the best classes and best specs to play in large-scale WoW vs. WoW battles. This build is not really that hard to play. The build used to be harder to play because you had potential to do better combos with your continuum split. So you do have a shorter window now to essentially use your key abilities twice. And F5 obviously is your continuum split, and it gives you the ability to combo with some insane shit. So ideally you want to combo Time Warp, Nullfield, and then if you can use shadows, instant cast skills like Chaos Armor and Mantra of Concentration, it's big. If you can fit in a Star 5, why not? If you can fit in a Tides of Time Shield 5, why not? But prioritize all the other things I said before. Shadows, Nullfield, stab mantra, instant cast skills, basically, and time warp. And obviously, you know how to do it. What's the cast time of the skills? Quarter of a second. So, quarter of a second, and you have to F5, like, at the end of the cast time. And if you do it at the end of the cast time, you're going to get more duration. But you can obviously just F5 and then use the skill if you want. If you're not quick enough, for whatever reason, your keybind's maybe not efficient, or maybe you're slow, or maybe you just don't have practice, you need to practice a little bit. There's nothing wrong with F5ing and then using your skills. But if you cast a skill and then press F5 during the cast before it ends, you will basically have more time. To get a clone up while you're doing the combo is really good. So you can sword 3, get a clone up, and then you can swap places with your clone, and then you can F5 if you want. The problem doing that is you're going to be in a bad situation. Your F5 leaves a little puddle, and it has HP, so it can get DPS, and then you get randomly ported back early in your combo phase, in your continuous phase. So ideally, you want to use your combo out of the shit. So what I tend to do is I do my combo with staff, and then I staff 2 away, then I F5. Because I get a clone, and then when I have a clone, I can basically get 3 seconds continuum split. Okay? So it's a lot better. So 3 seconds means I can use more skills, right? If I have no clones, I have 1.5 seconds. So you get an extra 1.5 seconds. It's pretty big. The build is pretty unique. We don't use Veil anymore. Veil is not needed, I feel. You might want to swap in Veil. Your commander might ask you to swap in Veil. It is possible, but most of the time, you won't need it, to be honest. You could put it in for Illusion of Life if you feel like you have more value from it, and you have loads of Illusion of Life in your squad. Or you can swap out for Null Field if you want, if you feel like there's enough strips in the squad. But in this meta, there probably isn't enough strips in the squad, to be fair. The mass stealth that you get from Veil is no longer used, but you can use it if you want. And basically, instead of shattering to boon rip, you're shattering to give boons. And you want to prioritize giving boons with staff when the enemy's pushing you. And you want to give Chaos Aura when you're in melee. And you want to rotate your Chaos Aura by doing combo fields. Staff 5.
Yes, that other language.
Staff 2.
What are we without
F2 gives Chaos Aura. Rotate that. I tend to use that with sword because you have no access to Chaos Aura with sword. Unless you null field and then sword 3, which I can't do because there's no enemy. But that's elite finisher. So you can get Chaos Aura that way. Or alternatively, you've got your elite as well, which is another one. So you can use elite and then you can use 2. So that's kind of what you want to do. You want to see this. You want to pay attention to this. And then when that finishes, you want to then give more Chaos Aura. If you're on top of the enemy, obviously. Because there's no point using it off the enemy. And what does Chaos Aura do? Random boons. Inflicts your foe with random conditions whenever you're struck. So protection, regen, swiftness. But for the enemy, weakness, confusion, cripple. And then obviously it has really good synergy because you get extra condition damage, which is fine. Believe it or not, this build can pump. With 25 might, any build can pump with 0 condition damage. 25 might. Imagine if I was playing Selly, 25 might. It's disgusting. And then on top of that, you've got this trait here, expertise, 250. And with regen, you get concentration expertise. It's insane. And you get regen when you get Chaos Aura. So this trait line is like goated. It's super goated. And protection on shatter is just insane as well. Illusionary defense is insane. So, and then you got the synergy here with the glamours. And we're using mental defense because it's a stun break for 5 people. It's a 600 radius. It's fucking massive. And resistance. It's insane. But yeah, F2 used with sword ideally. This is vigor, alack, and quickness, depending on how many clones you have. And Chaos Aura. Fury. Obviously, you got a 40-second cooldown on F3, and your Fury is 20 seconds nearly. So, yeah, if you can use that in Continuum Split, amazing. But chances are you will probably just use that at the start of the fight to buff your allies. You want to boon up, okay? So, because obviously stability goes on, then you want to boon up and cover the boons, because sometimes things get prioritized and last boon in, first off. This is Signet of Ether. I don't know if you're familiar with it, boys. Maybe some people are. Maybe you're not. This resets your phantasms. So if you want more phantasms, then great. But ideally, you're just using it for the shield block reset, so you have more mitigation. So you can use shield 4. Click your skill, boy. Use your heal skill, and it resets it by 50%. Sword 1, boys. Sword 1. Insane boon removal on the 3rd hit. Make sure you use that to cleave when you've got nothing else to do. And you can shatter instant cast while auto-attacking, so easy clap. Illusion of Life. One of the best tools in the game to revive. Make sure you use it. It's really, really good. Revive 3 people. They get up. If they kill something while they're in the Illusion of Life state, they have 15 seconds basically to kill something. They're temporarily alive. But if they die during the Illusion of Life, they go permadead. No down state. But yeah, you have your best success while casting all of your skills when the situation arises. So it's all about timing. Get it synced with your team. Crowd control with the damage or the boon rip phase with the wells. If the enemy's pushing, F1, F3. Obviously, you'd have Mantra stab up already. The fireman probably presses stab, but you can even F2. If the enemy's still pushing on top of you, you're about to well bomb. Yeah, you just stay in staff. You can Chaos Aura, Storm, Sword, Staff 2, and then you can combo and press more shits. Okay? If you're pushing the enemy, then you probably want to play Sword Shield, so you can immobilize, and you can Shield 4, because you're moving, and maybe you want to Shield 5 at some point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Sword 2 is invuln, but it does root you, so just be careful with that. Sword 3, you don't always have to use it, but you can use it. But there is a delay between Sword 3 and then the actual immobilize and clone swap, so just pay attention to that. Because you might actually just press it once and nothing happens. So, but if you do it and then maybe the enemy changes direction or your commander moves, obviously don't Sword 3 in Uganda. If you Staff 2 without a target, it will just go backwards. So you're always guaranteed to go back. If you have a target, sometimes it bugs out. And even if you target something in front of you, it'll teleport forwards. Don't ask me why that does that sometimes, but it does it. So ideally, do it without a target. Obviously, if you need another dodge, if you feel like you need more sustain, you can weapon swap for energy sigil proc. So if you're struggling, you have 2 dodges, right? If you need more, well, Vigor gives you endurance, but you don't always have Vigor. With this build, you get a bit. You can obviously dodge, weapon swap, and if you're in combat, it will give you another bar, another dodge. So you should have way more than enough sustain. So instant cast shadows, boys. They won't interrupt any action, any skills. They won't interrupt any skills. So make sure you do use them, and you can use them while using any other skill that has a cast time. So remember that. There is a slight delay on shadows, so you won't be able to press them all at the same time, and they all work. So if I press, like for instance, F4 and F3 together, right at the same time, only one of them went off. So there is a slight delay between. You can't spam it all at the same time. So you have to just press them and then press another one. And so if you have like a setup with a keybind, you can like scroll your fucking face across the keyboard and it'll eventually work. So F1, F2, F3, F4, or F4, F1, F2, F3. Like you can do it whichever way really, whatever you want to prioritize. It doesn't matter. Maybe you want to prioritize this because it's stab, resistance, quickness, distortion, stun break. Maybe you press that one first and then you press the other boons. So the enemies, so you can dodge. Because if you stun break, stab, you can move, you can dodge, then you get the other boons off. If you press F1, F2, F3, you get the boons, but you're still stuck. You're getting boon ripped. Then you press F4, now you can move, but then you've lost all the boons you just gave, right? So you might want to do F4, F3, F2, F1, So obviously prioritize that if that happens. More clones, it means more boons. Additional protection per clone, as usual. Extra quickness per clone, as usual. Gain laxity each time for each clone you shatter, as usual. It's the same as before. The build hasn't really changed. The fundamentals of Mesmer hasn't changed. The other thing as well is Condi cover. F2 and F3 is good Condi cover. And if you manage to use it with Sword 3, you can basically cover the Sword 3 immob with some extra Condis. And if you have Chaos Aura as well, it's going to help. So obviously there's a lot of trash Condis, not really damaging conditions, but a lot of trash Condis that are flying about the place in this meta. And so Immobilize is very strong, and they nerfed Resistance Relic, so you can no longer give resistance to your allies. There is obviously a lot of resistance still, but we are playing resistance on Glamours and GGs and resistance on mental defense, but there's opportunities with Immobilize. Distortion, let me explain that to you because people probably won't know what that is. Basically, you're immune to conditions and damage. Depending on how many clones you have, you'll get an extra second per clone. So if you use that with 3 clones, boys, holy fucking shit. You get insane amount of distortion time. So pay attention to it. You won't need to block or dodge while using it because you're invulnerable. Okay, so don't waste other cooldowns while you have distortion up. It's insane. Another fun fact for you. This is great for your party. If you do have Giga clones and you distort, this trait here, Inspiring Distortion, you spam ages depending on how many clones you have. Okay, so I talked about Continuum Split. It allows you to duplicate your skills in a short time, blah, 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 blah. If you want, there's another tip here for you. You want to cancel your Continuum Split? So you press F5. Oh, shit, I need to go back to where I came from. You can press F5 again to end it early. But without Illusion's trait line, it probably ends early itself because you don't have much time unless you have a clone. But if you do have a clone or you have 3 clones, oh, shit, imagine if you have 3 clones and you do Continuum Split. You're basically 6 seconds in the future. And then in 6 seconds, you're going to get ported back to where you came from. Well, I've got 6 seconds, dude. I'm running all the way over here, dude. What the fuck? And then my comm is over here, dude. And then I'm getting ported all the way back over there. I'm like, oh, no. So, that's tragic. I'm off tag. I'm dead. Well, maybe you don't want 6 seconds, right? So you just end it early by pressing F5 again. So, you know, once you've done your skill combo that you wanted to do, you can just exit it, dude. Press it again, okay? Don't just fucking wander off and then get ported back to where you came from. Unless you want to do that, because it's fun. Like, maybe you use F5 off of a cliff, right? You can use it as like a little portal, instead of an actual portal. You can F5 off a cliff, and then, oh my god, I'm getting chased by this guy, and then you F5, and it puts you back on top of the cliff. You didn't know you could do that? Oh, you can. Use it like a mini portal. It's pretty good. Shield 4 is good for returning to your Zerg as well, if ever you feel like you're off tag. Shield 4 is good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This Tides of Time got nerfed. It now hits 5 enemies. It used to hit like crazy amount. This blocks missiles, projectiles, so it can be really, really good. It's also actually an ethereal field as well, which some people don't know about. So you can actually Sword 3 with the Tides of Time and get Chaos Aura. Mesmer's cracked, boys. So, you got any questions? Drop them in the comments. Drop them in the chat. I'm streaming on Twitch. Shield 4 for mitigation. We're going to null field here on top of us. And we're going to mobilize. And now we're going to Chaos Aura again. And we're going to re-boon up. If they strip, which they're not stripping. Now we boon the Clash. And we give Chaos Aura. We starve 2 through the Ethereal Field. We Illusion of Life anybody here. There's no one dying to Illusion of Life. I'm going to use the Phantasm. Then I'm going to reset the cooldown with the heal skill. And now I'm going to use more Chaos Aura. Now I'm going to use Shield 5. I'm going to use Time Warp here. This is big Time Warp. We're going to Sword 3 into it and get Chaos Aura again. We're going to Shatter, give more Vigor, give more Fury. We're going to reset Mantra. We're going to Auto Attack. We're going to Mantra up. We're going to wait for the enemy to die. And then we're going to finally drop Nullfield on the downs and finish the fight, boys. It's over. Easy clap. More Chaos Aura.